the Environment Bill has been in the news quite a lot recently. So I wanted to make this video to let you know what I think's been going on and my interpretation of the various claims and counterclaims about the Environment Bill. We are going to talk about the discharge of raw, untreated human sewage. So if you're having a meal right now, you may want to come back and watch this video another time. So first off, let's talk about the Environment Bill. It was delayed 3 times by Boris Johnson's government. They didn't want to bring it to Parliament. I was concerned that it would be seen as too weak, ineffective, flaccid and not fit for purpose. So 3 times the Environment Bill was delayed until, in my opinion, I think Johnson realised it would be too embarrassing to host COP26 in Edinburgh when we were ducking and diving on the environment, and warm words and platitudes weren't going to cut it. So the Environment Bill had to come to Parliament. So the Environment Bill came to the House of Lords and many fine changes were made to it to improve it, to strengthen it and make it fit for purpose. It wasn't just the 2 Green Lords who did this. There were also crossbenchers, as they call them, and Conservative peers who saw the bill as lacking in teeth and lacking in purpose. This now came back to the House of Parliament where MPs debated it, and this is where Conservative MPs were whipped to remove many of these changes, many of these improvements, and scale them back to make the Environment Bill less powerful, less effective. And the one amendment that was taken out is the one that everyone's talking about, and this is whether water companies should be allowed to pump raw, untreated human effluent into our streams, into our rivers and onto our beaches. And this obviously has made people very, very angry, the idea that this should be allowed to happen. Now, at the heart of any environment bill, of any environmental legislation, should be the golden rule that the polluter pays. It should be the job of the person doing the pollution to pick up the tab. It shouldn't be us, the polluted, the people who have to deal with this mess of our environment. And as far as I'm concerned, being a water company, not pumping untreated raw human sewage into the river streams and onto the beaches of our country should really be pretty much top of your list of things that you should make sure you're on top of. But why win the situation? Why are we here when companies are now complaining? They're squealing that somehow pumping raw sewage into the river is something they shouldn't be allowed to do. Well, first off, they're privatised and they've had 30 years of underinvestment in their business. 30 years when this should have been put right. Couldn't have been done overnight, but they've had 3 decades where they have continued to pump sewage into the rivers and water courses of our country. 30 years where they've rewarded their owners with dividend payments. £60 billion has been taken out of our water industry and redistributed to owners. And these owners aren't UK based quite often, they're overseas, they're sovereign wealth funds, they're investment groups. Many of these water companies even went to the trouble of setting up Cayman Island holding companies to shelter their business from tax. And these companies quite often paid 0 corporation tax year after year, while extracting money that should have been spent on infrastructure. Not only have we had 30 years of underinvestment, we've had 30 years of under-regulation. We've had toothless regulators letting them get away with it. We've had 30 years of water companies lobbying MPs and regulators saying now's not the time to tighten up. Now isn't the time to cut this out. The situation we're in now is that every single river in England is below standard. Every river in this country is polluted, and that's not good enough. So the amendment that everyone's talking about was the one to allow water companies another 25 years to put the record straight. Another 25 years to sort out this rubbish. So, why would you do that? Why would you let them have 30 years of inadequate action and then give them another 25 years to do it? Well, the line that's been spun out by Conservative MPs, they've read their WhatsApp groups, they've been told what to say. The line that's spun out is £150 billion, it's going to cost too much, and you as the bill payer are going to have to foot the bill. It's not fair on you, and they're somehow making themselves out. They're protecting you as a bill payer from this cost. You who've been polluted for 30 years up till now, and another 25 years of pollution yet to come. They're trying to say they're on your side. But remember, the golden rule of every environment bill is the polluter pays, so you shouldn't have to. But hold on a second. Water companies have spent 1.5 million hours pumping out human sewage into our watercourses. 1.5 million hours polluting our waterways, destroying habitats, making you fearful about paddling in the river, where the dogs are going to come back sick if they swim in a lake. 1.5 million hours doing that. And the cost of putting that right, £150 billion, represents 0.7 of 1% of our country's gross domestic product. It equates to about 61 hours of our country's economy to put right this huge problem. It's a bill that is large, it is a problem that needs solving. So that's my take on what happened with the Environment Bill so far. That's my take on that one amendment which gave water companies the 25 years of pollution ahead. I'd like to know your views now. Do you think water companies should be given 25 years to carry on polluting? Do you think that you, the person being polluted, should have to pick up the tab on this? Do you think water companies should even be in private hands? Do you think they should be owned by us, the people, because they are in effect a monopoly that is very difficult to control? Or do you think everything's fine? Do you think there are other things to do? So send me your comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think everything's fine? Or have you had enough of this pollution of our environment? Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to hear from you soon.